Should Twitch ban gambling? They did! Ladies and gentlemen, this is a question I feel like we ask once a year at this point. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I made this video months ago where we talked about, weird offshore casinos partnering with rather large individuals, large influencers on the platform in order to throw a lot of money around and make a lot of money through. Now, ladies and gentlemen, me and CoffeeZilla covered another large crypto casino. We talked about shady money trails, their involvement with influencers, and how ultimately it is kids and adults and addicts that get sort of lined up, thrown into this entire, addictive vice known as gambling. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why this has become up is one streamer in particular, Sliker, has actually been known to have hundreds of thousands of dollars defrauded out of fans, out of friends, out of other streamers, if you will, in order to support a gambling addiction. Now, before we go into it, I want to just start off the video, okay? There's a phrase, personal responsibility, okay? I'm a huge believer in it, okay? I understand addictions are all around us, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be gambling, whether it be any vice, so to speak. Obviously, addictions happen, and people who go through addictions have to face a ton of demons every day in order to get out of it. And it isn't until they figure out how to break a loop that they can actually move on with their life, which is often easier said than done. Now, of course, while I have a lot of empathy for this, ultimately, as an adult, you have fucking personal responsibility. If you're defrauding hundreds of thousands of dollars out of people, that still makes you a scumbag. So to understand and start off with, a few days ago, a popular streamer known as Sliker was caught, basically exposed, siphoning hundreds of thousands of dollars defrauding individuals. So let's actually look into what was going on. Now we're going to go through sort of a collage of money being sort of given by some of these largest individuals. This comes from @TK who says, "Seek help at Sliker. You obviously have a serious problem, and hopefully this is a wake-up call for you. It's time to take off the clown shoes. You're better than this." Now if you look at the old Discord chats over here, and again I want to preface by saying I haven't refreshed these on the Discord server myself, so I don't know if anything's been inspect elemented. I'm going to go with the benefit of the doubt slightly here. "Yo, Lack, you still at Mrs.? Nah, it's good. By the way, bro, is it fine if I ask for a favor? My bank got locked on me, bro, and I'm fucked. My PayPal has $6. I get access when I'm back because the dog shits want me to call, and I can't as it's very expensive." They give a video regarding their PayPal, and of course, hey, "If I asked if I could borrow, would it be okay? I got you when I'm back. Don't worry, King, you can say no. Keep it personal, because I'm embarrassed I'm asking. They asked for $1,000. You able to do Bitcoin in case you think I'm hacked." Now, to understand over here, what this person is doing, Sliker, is they had a gambling addiction at the time, and they were lying to basically borrow money off of individuals so they could feed their gambling addiction. Now, it's one thing to look at these messages, so to speak, right? So these messages were done on 04/06/2022. And of course, a while later, they were like, "Hey, you getting me back? Had to delete my messages on Discord. What's your PayPal?" They give their PayPal. And Sliker basically gives them a receipt of money sent. "Thanks, bro. Appreciate you getting me back." "Nah, I appreciate you, King." But of course, after that, it appears that payment was in fact canceled. What the fuck? Shit got taken out of my bank. Looks like the payment got canceled, so I don't have it. Can you check with PayPal? I messaged. So yeah, when it came time to pay back, things were looking a little sketchy. Of course, beyond all that, there was a few other creators out there too. For instance, June. No shot. He asked me for 1,000 Great British pounds, as well nearly 2 years ago, talking about the same thing. Now, of course, this person called Sliker. They talked about, obviously, this 1,000 Great British pounds. Sliker told them, "You can't use PayPal anymore." And of course, they provided an email, "Remind me if I don't do it tomorrow." "All right, bro, thank you. Good luck." And then, of course, as you go forward, about a year later, or in 2022, "Did you get paid yet?" Word to my whole family, I didn't. Got this email, but it hasn't come through. And of course, it was like, you sent the money. So eventually, it took people more than 2 months to get this money back. Sometimes it took them a year, sometimes even more than that, it seems. One person, Harris OTJ, sent Sliker $30,000 and have seen none of it back. I never really knew how many people he did this to until today. Of course, when everyone started providing these receipts of hundreds upon hundreds of Great British pounds, in some cases 9,700 pieces of it, it sucks ass. So of course, he would try to pay back and he would actually lie about it. So for instance, in one case, they sent like $15,328. Insanity. But of course, if you look into it, well, I didn't get it. It says canceled. Guessing whatever you used to send it, you just didn't have enough money on. I need my money, bro. Literally check your PayPal. It's canceled. Can you send it to me? I don't care if you didn't cancel. I want my money. Don't piss me off, man. This is one like he wanted his money back. Slicker's like, sorry. So when can you send it? Man swore down on the Quran, said Wallah like 50 times. That anytime that it's still a lie, buddy. It's still a lie. I didn't lie. I sent it. Emishu came up with the 1.6K. I didn't cancel it, and I said Wallah, which is Wallahi for, you know, Islamic viewers. You're basically putting yourself up there with the good Lord. And it's better you don't lie about it, okay? Come on now. Of course, other streamers gave hundreds upon hundreds of Great British pounds. It's actually insane. Now, Slicker talked about this as well, too, and we're going to listen to it real quick to get his side of the story. So you can see here in this piece, he's actually trying to talk to Tfue, another large streamer, about getting some money. Listen to exactly how it's being asked.
Yo, Typhoon, what's up, baby? I hope you don't hate me on this. It's so cringe, and I'm cringe for asking my brother. Please do not hate me. Please, keep it personal as well. Basically, my bank account got locked. This has happened for like 3-4 days. I've been asking around people. Sadly, today, well, tomorrow is the last day until my credit starts getting fucked up. It got locked out, and I was looking for people that actually work and that I could ask if I could borrow from, and I'll pay back. Genuinely, give me 2 months and I can pay back. If you can't, no worries, my brother. If you can, but please, don't feel forced to say yes. Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't get in the call to do this. It's so I feel genuinely embarrassed. I've asked a few streamers, they couldn't help, and yeah, I don't mind it. It's okay. So I just went out, asked a few subs I've noticed, and yeah. That's why I also asked for you. So
you see that last part where he's like, I asked even a few subs that I noticed. It wasn't just like rich streamers this person was asking. It was the people that looked up and watched the guy, subscribers. Which is why when it comes to you as a viewer for any of these streams, don't just give money because you feel like you have to, or you're emotionally getting tied into it. This person is a gambling addict. I don't give money to people like this in my personal life because I know damn well I'm never going to get it back, and I'm ultimately enabling and feeding an addiction. Now, of course, how do you know that this is actually legitimate, okay? Let's get into it even further, okay? So, for instance, he actually does talk about it himself. In a 20-minute stream that he put up in response to a lot of this stuff, he talks about how he would have kept gambling. So just listen to some of it, okay? Listen to some of the methodology here.
I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I can now do it. I'm not gonna lie, I would have still gambled. I would have kept a share and gave away. It's happened before. You know, I received chunks of money. I'd receive 6K, I'd give 5K and keep 1K for myself and gamble it. And yeah, I never wanted this drama, but it was deserved that it went public. It was 100% deserved.
Yeah, absolutely was deserved, and I wouldn't say it's drama. I'd say your actual situation here, and the reason I'm covering it, is it's pretty goddamn criminal, it seems. It almost seems like you could be civilly tried for this by the various people that you took money from. Now, one of the things that got me really perked up about this was actually listening to where the origins of Slicker's gambling came from. Now, listen to this one real carefully.
Ever since CSGO, not to blame, but ever since CSGO Lounge came out, it was the first time I went on that site, and it was a fun place to be on, you know, gamble skins and stuff, and wow, eventually I found out you could gamble with money. Ever since CSGO.
I also wanted to add in, before we proceed into the CSGO stuff, that Slicker and what gambling addiction will cause and what these type of people will do is, in one case, it appears that he actually scammed somebody, allegedly, I guess, appears to be, somebody going through chemotherapy. I don't believe this is necessarily for cancer, but I believe they were going through chemotherapy. An absolute fucking low that I have witnessed in the entire in this entire situation. Truly damning shit. Now, CSGO is a rather interesting thing to hear about. One of the things that we wanted to look at, and one of the reasons why I perked up here, was a while back, me and CoffeeZilla did an investigation on Roobet, right? Where we actually looked at some of the origin members of the website, some of the rather hidden hand behind it. And some of those people had ties all the way back to CSGO, various Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, skin gambling sites. Now, to understand, for a quick reference, CSGO is a competitive shooter where you have the ability to unlock skins. These skins can be traded on the Valve marketplace. But a lot of places, a lot of sites started popping up where you could actually put these skins up, gamble them, because they would basically take the actual like monetary value of these skins and use them to be gambled against other users. It was so bad at one point that children were literally using the CSGO skins as a surrogate for money at this point. So they were able to get away with like just having children jump into these clear gambling pits. And that was effectively bad. That's how a lot of people started off with. And some of those CSGO sites, a lot of when they went defunct, when they were caught out, when this whole thing was blown wide open and demonized, a lot of that money was then siphoned off to newer projects, such as crypto casinos, for instance, and this whole cycle repeated again. Now, of course, Sliker, in my opinion, is not an innocent person in any of this, all right? This is a person that has defrauded hundreds of thousands of dollars out of viewers and fans. This is without a doubt one of the biggest scams we've seen in our space, and it deserves to be 100% called out. Now, there's a few people like XQC and Ludwig who have basically jumped in and are aware of the situation. Heartbreaking, and they're actually doing their best to get the money back to those people. Now, XQC says it's around $300,000, but I've actually seen the money amount jump up to like $500,000 in some cases. But again, one of the things that I wanted to jump into in this situation, and one of the reasons it came up, is that a lot of streamers are bringing up the idea of should we ban gambling, right? There's been streamers such as Miskiff who have basically straight up said that this should be something that should be dropped by Twitch, especially when it comes to advertising this on their platform, especially during the holiday seasons.
If someone said, Miz, sign this right now and we're going to not stream for a whole week, I would say, can we do longer? I would totally be down. I'd say, look, I'll take someone else's time too.
In a postscript fashion, Miskiff will not be streaming for a while because of a situation regarding, well, how should I put it very lightly, a possible obfuscation of a sexual assault. It seems as though, you know, with a bunch of new things coming out because of this, because it was a wild week for Twitch, he will no longer be streaming for the foreseeable future. So here you can like see that plenty of like streamers are on, like Pokimane, Miskiff, and a few other people are jumping on to basically talk about protesting Twitch or not streaming to basically make a statement to get Twitch to drop a lot of these gambling streamers. Now, before we continue this, I'm going to have my good friend CoffeeZilla on, and we're going to discuss just how this banning works, just, you know, what type of crypto gambling or just gambling in general that, you know, should be banned off and why it should be. And as we do that, as we discuss it, we'll come back and tie things off. So let's head on over there. This whole story started off with like Sliker, right? A Twitch streamer that loaned hundreds of thousands of dollars from numerous like friends, viewers, whatever you want to call it. And do I defend Sliker? No, I think he's 100% scumbag for doing it, right? But at the same time, this is the exact case of addiction, and it's why this whole story is now resurged. We talk about this every year. Should Twitch ban gambling? Should gambling streams be regulated? Dude, we are on YouTube. We're one of the largest YouTubers, right? A big YouTuber, right? Steve Will Do It got literally perma-banned off the platform for promoting gambling, you know, sponsored gambling. YouTube and many other platforms understand that this is clearly 18+ behavior. You know, I am against this on the platform. I am against straight up pornography on the platform, right? Things that are clearly 18+. Now, I think we both can agree there's a degree of personal responsibility to all of this. But at the same time, like you and I talk about, like, this is clearly a place where you got young adults, kids, you know, adults in general, all converging onto these big streams. Because let's be honest, when these gambling streams, these sponsored gambling streams are happening, they're targeting YouTube, Twitch, these first-tier social media services to siphon viewers in to their casinos. Because if they were to do it on an 18+ platform or their own site, nothing would work. They would not succeed.
Yeah, they want the biggest streamers to do it too, right? Yeah. Like, that's the whole point. They want the people with the most like mainstream audiences. I mean, I think you compare it to the hot tub meta when everyone was getting all up in arms about that, how, you know, look at what they're doing. They shouldn't be on Twitch. It's like, look, no one would bat an eye if that was on another website, right? But it's just the fact that it's on a website where everyone knows there's a lot of like pretty impressionable people. I mean, look, you heard with Slicker, he started with the CS:GO skins, right? Like,
Yeah.
he literally started. That's how so many people start. We've heard it time and time again talking to people. They start young. The biggest addicts, actually, this is like famous addiction stat. The younger you start, the more likely you're to be addicted, and the worse your addiction's going to be. So look, I think it's pretty simple. I just think from an optics standpoint, it looks so bad for Twitch to defend this behavior. They really don't get as rich as the streamers do anyways. Like, just the streamers go from being like rich to mega rich, which doesn't really seem to benefit anyone but them. So it doesn't make sense to me. You ban sponsored streams, all of a sudden, I promise you, I don't care how much they say, like, oh, I love gambling, bro. I love gambling. We'll see how much they like gambling when they start losing some of their precious money, right? So all the people coming out to defend sponsored gambling streams, most of the major ones, literally are sponsored gamblers. So everybody, like, most of the people looking at this from a pretty, I'd say, like, unbiased point of view, objective point of view, I think are pretty much for, like, okay, either ban gambling or at least ban, like, making $100 million plus while getting people addicted.
Yeah, I mean, and the other big thing about, like, promoting this kind of stuff too is, like, again, Twitch is responsible for which sites are being promoted, right? There's a lot of websites that are so unregulated. Like, I personally don't have a problem if you promote, like, a legitimate casino, a legitimate gambling site that is bound by law to constantly ensure the best KYC checks, the best AML checks, to make sure that, because there are plenty of online platforms that will not let you even touch any form of gaming, any form of depositing, until they have verified your identity. With a lot of the platforms that are being promoted by some of the largest streamers, they conveniently skip that during the deposit, as we've investigated in time and time again. And I think that's one of the biggest problem too. It's one thing to, like, promote this, but I feel like a lot of these streamers are promoting the exact sites that are taking advantage of where they are, where they're not regulated, for the most part, and they're taking advantage of a lot of these children jumping in, putting in $100, $150 time and time again, maybe from mommy's credit card, buying crypto and then siphoning it in and then just running it off that way. I think I feel like that's one of the, big targets for a lot of these sites,
Yeah, I mean, you just look at how much they pay these streamers. Like, they're making way more than that on the back end. Otherwise, these deals wouldn't happen. We know from our sponsorships, if you don't basically deliver, like, if you don't deliver the viewers, right, or the audience, they cancel your contract. So we know whatever they pay you, the company's making at least more than that on your deal. The deals we're talking about with, well, I won't name names here, but it's insane the amount of money they're sucking out of people. And it's just wild. It's just wild. It's crazy to see a platform like Twitch, like, die on this hill when they're so weirdly, like, prudish on other. Their enforcement guidelines are so weird, man. I do not understand, bro. Gideon's like permaban, and then, like,
now you've got one streamer just siphoning hundreds of thousands of dollars from the fans to fucking throw away on gambling. It's fucking insane, all right? Yes, you know what? I'll be the first one to really say it over here. Both of us, I think, will die on this hill. We need to get rid of these sponsored gambling streams, because clearly, all right, ask any one of your favorite streamers this: if they weren't getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars a year, would they actually still gamble? No. The real loser is you, the winner is them, and an even bigger winner is the people giving them the contracts and money to begin with. It's a truly shitty cycle to get into.
Agreed.
Now, I think it's time to sort of end things off. We've discussed a lot of things. To be real with you, this video is sort of like a follow-up, if you will. This whole gambling scenario sort of blew up in everyone's faces. Now, there were some serious allegations that came out of this. Twitch is a wild place this week, to be real with you. I'm only sticking to the gambling stuff. There has been discussions of, like, sexual assault, and that's obviously something I'm not ever going to touch. That's not, like, in my wheelhouse. That's not even in my lane. I feel like law enforcement should be involved if there are things regarding cover-ups on that. To, sort of regress into the gambling debate. This started off being a debate about, one person being addicted to gambling. Hey, promoting gambling causes gambling addictions, right? Impressionable people come and watch, and they get addicted. Now, obviously, in the clip, me and CoffeeZilla were not of the opinion, and I'm generally not of the opinion that you should just ban gambling as a whole, because there's plenty of different types of gambling. There's legitimate gambling. In fact, ironically enough, the gambling that Silker was involved into was actually far into the legal category of it. But Twitch has responded by eliminating the unregulated, shadier crypto sides, the sites of gambling. So obviously they've got a whole statement over here, one that I definitely want to read into for sure. Now, on their post, gambling content on Twitch has been a topic of discussion in the community and something we've been actively reviewing since our last policy update in this area. Today we want to update you on our plans. While we prohibit sharing links or referral codes to all sites that include slots, roulette, or dice games, we've seen some people circumvent those rules and expose our community to potential harm. So we'll be making a policy update on October 18th to prohibit streaming of gambling sites that include slots, roulette, or dice games that aren't licensed either in the United States or other jurisdictions that provide sufficient consumer protection. These sites will include Stake.com, which is the largest online casino, Rollbit.com, DuelBits.com, and Roobet.com. However, we may identify others as we move forward. We will continue to allow websites that focus on sports betting, fantasy sports, and poker. Like I said earlier, poker could have some legitimate claim of, challenge or skill. But roulette slots, obviously, we know they don't. We'll share specifics on the updates in our gambling policy soon. So obviously, they're going to be doing this on the 18th of October. Now, this is significantly massive news. This is what me, Coffee, Barely Sociable, Philly, and a lot of people were campaigning for, because for a lot of us, this was a shady side of the internet creeping its way into the, into the legitimate side of the internet, and so on and so forth. The point of this is that obviously the strong wording here is sufficient consumer protection. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that, casinos over here are necessarily all legal and friendly and they're all nice and they all follow the law at every given moment, right? But there are a significant amount of interventions the government and even you can take if you feel that you're scammed by a casino or whatnot. You can jump in and deal with a million protections provided to you. But with a lot of these casinos that, Twitch mentioned, some of them didn't even have adequate protections to check identification before you threw money into their services. And of course, when it came time to take out the money, if God forbid you won, good luck, because trying to get your money out of them required like an insane amount of documentation. Obviously, we could argue about the fairness of these games, even though I believe some of them were pretty provably fair. Point is, a site that's providing millions of dollars to influencers to gather into, they definitely have a massive amount of chunk of change coming in. So obviously, the advertising on streams would be working. And no matter what streamer is going to say, hey guys, never gamble, you'll never win, it'll keep deterring you from it, with like, whatever their statements would be. Obviously, it was working. They were getting a lot of revolving money going into the door. So when it comes to this whole situation, when it comes to this scenario, obviously I think Twitch made the right decision. They're pretty much on par with every other mainstream streaming service. I believe YouTube does it the same way. Facebook or whatever streaming service is out there followed this general idea. Obviously, it's okay to be promoting. I think it's okay to deal with gambling services that are in legal jurisdictions, jurisdictions where if you are American players, right, or players from the US, UK, or a lot of these countries, because one of the biggest problems with these services was that when these streamers were streaming, their audiences were pretty predominantly North American. So when it came out to it, right, when you are streaming on sites like Roobet, for instance, or even Stake, and I believe Stake has a U.S. division now, but when it came to just Stake, without the U.S. division, legally, the Americans could not play on it, which is why a lot of these services, wouldn't say use a VPN, but some of these services were very friendly and working very friendly with VPN services. Like, their actual geolocationing wasn't even that crazy good. But I'm getting all, jumbled up here. Point is to, redirect into it. Obviously, good decision by Twitch, solid decision, and it's one that I think I can stand by. It's one that we're glad to see happen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all I really have to say about this Twitch gambling, stuff. It's come to an end. It's come to a complete conclusion out of honestly nowhere. Really, for one, the actual streamers deciding to strike really caused Twitch to make a proper statement. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.